If you're over 40 and standing up from a chair feels harder than it used to, your glutes are shutting down, and I'm about to show you 2 simple exercises that can reverse this in less than 4 weeks. Stay with me. Let's be honest, after 40, your body doesn't bounce back like it used to, does it? You wake up stiff, you feel tired by mid-afternoon, and you've probably noticed your butt has gotten flatter and weaker over the years. Maybe you've tried squats or lunges and felt nothing in your glutes, only pain in your knees or lower back, so you gave up, thinking your body just wasn't built for exercise anymore. You're not alone. Millions of Americans over 40 are dealing with what doctors call gluteomamnesia, where your glute muscles literally forget how to activate properly because of years of sitting and inactivity. It's not your fault, it's not laziness, and it's definitely not permanent. But if you ignore it, it leads to chronic pain, loss of independence, and a body that feels 10 years older than it should. Here's the good news. You don't need a gym membership, complicated equipment, or hours of working out to fix this. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 2 exercises target your glutes in the most effective, joint-friendly way possible for people over 40. You'll understand the exact step-by-step form so you actually feel them working in the right places. And you'll have a simple plan you can start today that will make you stronger, more stable, and more confident within just a few weeks. This isn't about vanity. This is about vitality, independence, and living your best life in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Before we dive in, let me explain why these 2 exercises work so well, because this isn't random advice from the internet. This is backed by real science. The American College of Sports Medicine and the National Institute on Aging both emphasize that strengthening the gluteal muscles is one of the most important things adults over 40 can do to prevent falls, reduce chronic pain, and maintain independence as we age. Studies published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy show that weak glutes are directly linked to lower back pain, hip dysfunction, knee injuries, and poor posture, and that targeted glute strengthening can reverse these issues in weeks when done consistently and correctly. This isn't fitness hype. This is evidence-based movement designed for real people living real lives, and it works if you commit to doing it right. The first exercise is the Glute Bridge, but not the way most people do it. Because here's the problem. Most people over 40 perform glute bridges by pushing through their lower back or hamstrings instead of their glutes, which means they end up with a sore back and 0 results. The glute bridge is hands down one of the best exercises for rebuilding glute strength after 40 because it's low impact, doesn't stress your knees or spine when done correctly, and teaches your brain to reconnect with your glute muscles. Here's exactly how to do it. Lie flat on your back on a yoga mat with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor about hip width apart, positioned close enough that your fingertips can almost touch your heels when your arms rest by your sides. Before you even lift your hips, take a deep breath. Brace your core like you're about to cough. Squeeze your glutes as hard as you can. Imagine holding a coin between your butt cheeks. And then press through your heels, not your toes, to lift your hips toward the ceiling until your body forms a straight line from shoulders to knees. At the top, pause for 2 full seconds, really focusing on squeezing your glutes tight. Then slowly lower back down with control, never letting your lower back arch or your knees fall inward. The biggest mistake people make is lifting their hips too high, which hyperextends the lower back and turns this into a back exercise instead of a glute exercise. If you feel this in your lower back, you're doing it wrong, so lower your hips slightly and refocus on squeezing your glutes first. Another common mistake is letting your knees cave inward, which puts stress on your hip joints and reduces glute activation. Keep your knees aligned over your ankles the entire time. Start with 3 sets of 12 repetitions, resting 30 seconds between sets, and as you get stronger over the next few weeks, you can add resistance by placing a light dumbbell or even a heavy book on your hips. I once worked with a woman named Linda. She was 53, had chronic lower back pain for years, and couldn't stand for more than 20 minutes without discomfort. After just 3 weeks of doing glute bridges every other day, her back pain dropped by 70%, and she felt more stable and confident than she had in a decade. The reason this works so well is that it's a closed chain exercise, meaning your feet stay planted on the ground throughout the movement, making it much safer for your joints than exercises where your legs are swinging around in the air. The second exercise is the Banded Lateral Walk, sometimes called the Monster Walk, and it's a game changer for people over 40 because it targets the glute medius, the side muscle of your butt that most traditional exercises completely miss. And this muscle is absolutely crucial for hip stability, balance, and preventing that side-to-side wobble when you walk or climb stairs. Weak glute medius muscles are one of the main reasons older adults experience knee pain, hip bursitis, IT band syndrome, and even ankle instability. Here's how to do it correctly. Grab a small resistance band, you can find these online for less than $10, and place it either just above your knees or around your ankles. Beginners should start with the band above the knees because it's easier to control. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, bend your knees slightly into a quarter squat position like you're about to sit in a chair, keep your chest up and core tight, then take a slow, controlled step directly to the side with your right foot, pushing against the resistance of the band, followed by a step with your left foot to return to hip-width apart. Never let your feet come together or the band will lose tension and you'll lose the glute activation. Take 10 to 12 steps to the right, then 10 to 12 steps back to the left, and repeat for 3 sets total, resting about 30 to 45 seconds between sets. The most common mistake here is standing too upright, which shifts the work away from your glutes and into your hip flexors. So make sure you maintain that slight squat position the entire time, chest proud, knees slightly bent, butt pushed back just a little. Another mistake is taking steps that are too big or too fast. This is not a race. Slow and controlled movement with constant tension on the band is what builds strength and stability. I remember a guy named Robert. He was 61, an avid golfer, and he kept tweaking his lower back and knees every time he played a full round. He started doing banded lateral walks 3 times a week for just 5 minutes each session, and within a month, his swing felt more powerful, his knees didn't ache after 18 holes, and his balance improved so much he could stand on one leg to tie his shoes without holding on to something. The glute medius is often called the unsung hero of lower body strength because it's responsible for keeping your pelvis level when you walk, preventing your knee from collapsing inward during movement, and maintaining balance on uneven surfaces. Quick pause here. I genuinely want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me your age and what country you're watching from. I read every single comment and I love seeing how many of us around the world are committed to staying strong and healthy as we age. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because every week I release new videos designed specifically for people over 40 who want practical, science-backed advice they can actually use. Your support means everything. All right, let's keep going. Now you might be wondering why just 2 exercises and why these 2 specifically. The answer is simple but powerful. The Glute Bridge targets your glute maximus, which is the largest and strongest muscle in your entire body, responsible for hip extension, standing up from a seated position, and climbing stairs, while the Banded Lateral Walk targets your glute medius, which stabilizes your hips, keeps your pelvis level when you walk, and prevents your knees from collapsing inward. Together, they create a complete glute strengthening system that addresses both power and stability, which is exactly what your body needs after 40 to stay pain-free, mobile, and independent. Think of it like building a house. The Glute Bridge is your foundation, giving you raw strength, while the Banded Lateral Walk is your structural support, keeping everything aligned and stable. I've seen people in their 50s and 60s transform their movement quality, eliminate chronic pain, and regain confidence just by committing to these 2 exercises 3 to 4 times a week for 20 minutes total. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things with intention and consistency. Let's talk about how to fit these into your life. Here's the beauty. You can do both in less than 15 minutes. You don't need special equipment except a resistance band that costs less than a cup of coffee, and you can do them at home in your living room. I recommend doing this routine 3 to 4 times a week with at least 1 rest day in between to allow your muscles to recover, because recovery is just as important as the workout itself, especially for bodies over 40. Start each session with a quick 2-minute warm-up. Just march in place or do some gentle hip circles. Then do 3 sets of 12 glute bridges, followed by 3 sets of lateral band walks in each direction, and finish with a 1-minute cool down where you gently stretch your glutes and hips. The key is consistency, not intensity. Doing these imperfectly 3 times a week will give you better results than doing 10 different exercises perfectly once a week. Let's bring this all together. We covered 2 exercises, the glute bridge and the banded lateral walk. And these aren't just random movements. They're the 2 most effective, evidence-based, joint-friendly exercises you can do after 40 to rebuild glute strength, improve hip stability, and reduce lower back and knee pain. The glute bridge targets your glute maximus for power, while the banded lateral walk